facts with you today. And I was pointed toward a website that's titled 320 Useless but Good to Know Facts. 320 Useless but Good to Know Facts. And I asked Sandy Wiseman if she would pull that list out and pick just 5 of those good to know facts to share with us this morning. So Sandy, would you share those facts that you chose with us, share those with us this morning? Did you know camels have 3 eyelids? Fact, huh? Okay, let's see the next one. A snail can sleep for 3 years. Good to know. All right. All polar bears are left-handed. Yeah, I see, Marilyn. You left-handed, Marilyn? Okay. I wondered why you were bearish. Okay. I'm in trouble now. All right, let's see the next one, Sandy. Butterflies taste with their feet. Good to know fact. Is that the last one, or is there another one? Okay, let's see. Mr. Rogers was an ordained Presbyterian minister. I knew that one. The others I didn't know. Good to know facts. Where you're going to use them, I don't know. But someplace you might find a use for them. Do not remove under penalty of law. Where have you seen that before? Pillows. Where? Mattresses. Where else? Cushions on your furniture and other places. Do not remove under penalty of law. Did you know that lots of people used to keep those tags on their cushions out of a vague fear that they might be prosecuted for doing something illegal by removing them? Did you know? We're going to take an impromptu survey here. How many of you cut the tags off your cushions and mattresses and pillows? Okay? Put your hands down. How many of you left them on? Put your hands up. These are the ones who were afraid they'd be prosecuted. All right. So some of you cut them off. Some of you left them on. The thing is, you couldn't be prosecuted. You could not be prosecuted for removing those tags. And why not? Because those warning labels were never intended for you. It was meant for the retailers and the manufacturers. The tags in question contain certain information about the materials that were in the cushions and the mattresses. In the old days, whatever the old days are, but in the old days, unscrupulous manufacturers used to stuff their products with some pretty disgusting things. Some of these things were even flammable. And for reasons of public safety, the government stepped in, enforcing regulations on the pillow content. Do not remove tags attested to the fact that the pillow or the mattress had passed muster, that they were good enough to take out and to sell to the public. But the tags got so annoying that new clarified wording was finally adopted, and today these tags read, the tag must be removed, the tag must not be removed except by the customer. Now, I looked all over the place this week, and I had other people, Darlene Cunningham and some other folks looking for me, and to see if they could find a do not remove under penalty of law tag. We haven't got anything around here old enough to have a tag like that on it, where someone's already cut it off. Okay. I looked under the cushions on all the sofas around here, and they have that new tag. They have that new one that says that tags must not be removed except by the consumer. But if you run across one of these old tags, Linda, okay, now you can rip them off or cut them off. All right, you can tear that tag off because no one's going to come and arrest you and prosecute you. So isn't that good to know? the sense that they would come in handy sometime soon, that they're good to know. So let's examine just a few of them this morning. Did you know that Jesus is not surprised by his suffering, death, and resurrection? He saved us, you and I, with his eyes wide open. That's good to know. Take a look at verse 21. From that time on, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and undergo great suffering at the hands of the elders and the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised. You know, it's tempting to see Jesus as a fortuitous Savior, thrust to the cross rather than one who embraced it and steadily pursued it on our behalf. Christ perceived that the path to righteousness, he perceived that path to righteousness as one that was marked by suffering. And he understood his ultimate trial as one of death, vindicated through life. And that must shape how we see our lives as well. Those of us who call ourselves his disciples and follow in his footsteps, we need to view our lives in the same fashion. Secondly, did you know that Jesus doesn't need us to protect him? Did you know that? He doesn't need us to protect him, but to follow him. We are his disciples, not members of an entourage. In an entourage, there's a star at the center, around whom all the others orbit and who live off of his or her awesomeness and their fame. You know, I think of Michael Jackson. I think of other movie stars and famous people who have entourages around them who are always putting the spin on their star. I think of the presidents, not just our sitting president, but all presidents, who have on Sunday mornings sent their closest advisors out to be on all the Sunday morning talk shows to get the spin just right on the president's policies and decisions that are being made. Part of the job of the folks in the entourage is to protect the shine of their star, to help him or her to perpetually look good. And in doing so, to protect that glow that they get to live in. This is in essence what Peter is attempting to do in his famous attempt at talking Jesus out of the cross in verse 22. Look at this. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, God forbid it, Lord, this must never happen to you. What Jesus did. You remember? What did he do in that passage? He rebuked him. He called him Satan. Get behind me, Satan, he tells Peter. Get behind me, Satan. Peter assumes that there must be a better, shinier path for this man Jesus. And therefore, for the rest of the entourage, the disciples, to travel as well. But Jesus reminds Peter and us that our task is not to protect, but to follow. That's good to know. Even following to the point that we have to pick up our own cross and travel the way of Christ. Did you know that to find ourselves, we must be willing to lose ourselves? Very good to know. Look at verses 24 and 25. Where do I find it? Then Jesus told his disciples, if anyone to become my followers, let them deny themselves and and take up their cross and follow me. For those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake will find it. Discipleship, Jesus tells us from this passage of Scripture, is counterintuitive. In the same way we don't protect Jesus from his path, we mustn't protect ourselves from it either. We're to pick up our cross and we're to follow Christ. In this broken world, everything's backward, folks. And we will only discover the greatness of God when we know and experience our very human limits. And we fight against this truth in 1,000 different ways, in our living, in our praying, and so often even in our preaching. And yet we must always temper ourselves with this truth. Here it is. The truth is that God's grace is located at the end of our road, not up here at the top. God's grace is located here at the end of the road. When we don't think we can go any further. That's where we find God's grace. And finally, did you know that there will be a reward in the end when Christ comes? Verse 27. This is really good to know. Verse 27. For the Son of Man is to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay everyone for what has been done. Sure, we're not told what that vindication is going to be for those who die to self through faith in Christ, but that there will be a vindication. Will it be some kind of a parade around the pearly gates? Will it be a monetary prize? And if so, what currency is going to be used in the new creation? Is it going to be the dollar? Is it going to be the yen? Is it going to be the euro? Who knows? The lack of detail, you see, folks, would be bothersome if Jesus hadn't proven himself trustworthy through his resurrection. Now, we've got lots of folks who will tell you they know just exactly what's going to go on, but Jesus doesn't specify. He just says that there will be vindication for us, for those who die to self. So while we don't know what this reward is going to look like, we can be absolutely certain that there will be a reward. That's good to know, especially on the days that the road of discipleship, as predicted by Jesus, is decidedly dark. Down here where you're at the end of your road, it's good to know that there's hope, that there is vindication. Perhaps these insights from Jesus strike you as strange. Maybe true. Maybe somewhat even obvious. The idea of a God who chooses suffering in order to save is strange. The idea of discipleship as discovering God at the end of me rather than the best of me is new. The idea that our ultimate reward is guaranteed but not delivered until then, like before. It's all good to know. It's essential to know. But many don't know it yet. For you golfers here in the congregation this morning, did you know that a regulation golf ball has 336 dimples? Regulation golf ball has 336 dimples. For you music our hearts and our minds. I can't believe, Jeopardy, some of these people in the facts that come up with, they know just like that. My poor gray matter would never be able to absorb all that. But I know Jesus doesn't need me to protect me. I know if I die to self, there's a vindication for me at the end. I know that my greatest experience of grace hasn't been up here at the high points in my life. It's been down here at the low points in my life. I know those facts. Those are eternal facts. We can park the truth that Jesus doesn't need us to protect him right next to the fact that Jimmy Carter was the first president born in a hospital. That's a fact. Jimmy Carter was the first U.S. president born in a hospital. So you can park that right beside Jesus doesn't need us to protect him. And you'll never know when you'll need to access such truths. Something inside us tells us that we will, or we might. Both those facts about not needing to protect Jesus and Jimmy Carter, they're good to know, I guess. But I know one is just a little better to know than the other. One's a little more important to know than the other. And I'll let you guess which is the most important of all. Amen? Amen. Dave Mallard, the next time you get ready to tee off, you tell your golfing buddies that ball I'm about to hit has 336 dimples on it, and you just impress the living daylights out of it. And if that doesn't impress them, you tell them John Lennon's first girlfriend was Thelma Pickle. And if that doesn't impress them, you tell them that a camel has 3 eyelids. And if that doesn't impress them, you tell them Jimmy Carter was the first president ever born in a hospital. You got all that down, Dave? All right. All right. Jesus loves you. It's the most important